Cedar Point is building its ninth roller coaster. That's more than any other theme park in the country. As Dick Berry reports tonight, it's going to be the granddaddy of them all.
Upon completion, there's going to be no other ride like it in the world. Magnum XL-200, the world's highest and fastest roller coaster.
In an age of perfectly engineered, glass-smooth roller coasters, you have to wonder, have we lost something? Have we traded raw, unpredictable thrills for polished perfection? To find that answer, we need to go back to 1989 and to a 72-mile-per-hour beast that still rides like nothing else on this earth. This is the story of a coaster built not with algorithms and computer simulations, but with slide rules, raw ingenuity, and a whole lot of steel. This is the story of Magnum XL-200. The late 1980s were a real turning point for amusement parks. For decades, the big race was all about building the wildest wooden coaster, or the one with the most inversions. But a new threshold, this almost mythical number, loomed in everyone's minds: 200 feet. It was an audacious, almost absurd height to conquer with a full-circuit roller coaster. Even attempting it required a park with huge ambitions and an engineering firm with some serious nerve. Enter Cedar Point, the self-proclaimed roller coaster capital of the world. Sitting on a peninsula in Ohio's Lake Erie, the park was already a top-tier destination. But its leaders wanted to make a statement, one so loud the industry would hear it. They were going to shatter the 200-foot barrier and create a whole new category of thrill machine. To pull it off, they turned to a Utah-based company they knew very well, the firm that had practically invented the modern steel roller coaster, Aerodynamics. The partnership between Cedar Point and Aero was already legendary. Aero had already given the park its first modern looper, Corkscrew, and unique racing coaster, Gemini. The lead designer for this monstrous new project was a man named Ron Toomer. Toomer was a fascinating figure. He was an engineer who'd worked on the heat shield for the Apollo spacecraft, and he brought that aerospace precision to an industry built on carnival thrills. The funny thing is, he famously suffered from motion sickness and rarely rode any of the rides he designed. He always claimed he knew exactly how they would feel just by looking at the blueprints. The project, codenamed Expedition 200, was top secret. When Cedar Point finally made the official announcement, the numbers were just staggering. A height of 205 feet, a first drop of nearly 195 feet, and a top speed of 72 miles per hour. It was going to be the tallest, fastest, and steepest complete circuit roller coaster on the planet. The name was perfectly bold: Magnum XL-200. This wasn't just a new ride, it was a declaration. When it opened on May 6th of 1989, it changed everything. It was the world's first hypercoaster, a term that was literally coined for this new breed of giant. Magnum's debut didn't just break records, it fired the starting pistol for the roller coaster wars. Suddenly, parks around the globe were in a frantic race to go higher and faster, a competition that would define the next 2 decades. Magnum's place in history was cemented instantly, so much so that it was later designated a roller coaster landmark by the American coaster enthusiasts. But its true legacy, the reason we're still talking about it today, isn't just written in the record books. It's welded into every single piece of its iconic red and white track. So what makes this coaster so different? What gives it that untamed character that you just don't find in its modern descendants? Well, the answer is all in how it was built. To get Magnum, you first have to get the old school ingenuity of aerodynamics. Back in the 1980s, you couldn't just fire up your sophisticated CAD software and design a roller coaster. There were no complex algorithms to perfectly map out the G-forces or create flawless, smooth transitions. Ron Toomer and his team designed coasters with pen, paper, and calculators. They would literally draw chalk outlines on their factory floor and then bend the steel tubes by hand to match the marks. It was a process that was as much art as it was engineering. That brings us to the heart of Magnum's unique feel, its track. Aero pioneered the tubular steel track that revolutionized the industry, starting with the Matterhorn bobsleds at Disney in 1959. This design uses two round steel tubes for the rails, connected by a lattice of smaller pipes to a main spine. For Magnum, they were just taking their proven mine train technology and scaling up to a colossal size. Because those track sections were bent and welded manually, slight imperfections weren't just possible, they were inevitable. Transitions weren't always perfectly smooth. The banking in a turn might not be perfectly consistent, but these weren't seen as flaws. They were just the reality of building something on a scale nobody had ever attempted using the tools they had. These quirks, as fans call them, are what give the ride its aggressive and wild personality. The train jolts and shimmies in ways that feel totally alien if you've only ridden the modern, computer-designed smooth coasters. It feels alive, like it's communicating every single weld and joint directly to you. That raw feeling is amplified by its support structure. Magnum is held up by 157 massive columns, many in that signature coat hanger style Aero was known for. They were designed with one main purpose: strength. Modern supports are engineered to help smooth out the forces of the train. Magnum supports, on the other hand, are like a rigid, unyielding skeleton, forcing the train to navigate the track's geometry with pure muscle instead of calculated grace. And finally, you have the trains, 3 of them, each packing 36 riders into simple, wide-open cars. The only things holding you in are a ratcheting lap bar and a seatbelt. No over-the-shoulder restraints, no form-fitting bucket seats. This minimalist design means there's nothing between you and the violent forces the track is about to dish out. You aren't insulated from the ride. You're a part of it. The combination of hand-shaped track, a rigid structure, and minimalist trains created a perfect storm of intensity. A beastly experience that assaults your senses from the second you drop off the lift hill. Every ride on Magnum starts with that slow, rhythmic, and incredibly loud climb up its 205-foot lift hill. The clack-clack of an Aero chain lift is a sound that builds suspense like nothing else. As you rise, all of Cedar Point spreads out below you, and off to your right, the vast, shimmering expanse of Lake Erie stretches out to the horizon. It's a beautiful, deceptively calm moment before the storm. Cresting the top, the train seems to hang there for a split second before plunging down a 194-foot drop at a steep 60-degree angle. You're instantly thrown forward against your lap bar as the train hits its max speed of 72 miles per hour. The wind roars, and the sheer power is just overwhelming. But that's just the beginning. Unlike the graceful, sweeping first drops of modern hypercoasters, Magnum's is a warm-up for a series of jarring, powerful hits. The train rockets into a wide bank turn, shoving you sideways with lateral forces. Then it's up its second massive hill for a quick moment of weightlessness before diving down towards the first of several tunnels. When you hit that tunnel at speed, the sound is deafening. A chaotic roar of wind and rattling steel. It just adds to the sensory overload. After that, you've got that speed hill, which is just the first of what's to come at the end. It's a smaller, more triangular shaped hill that the train takes at an incredible speed. The result isn't the gentle floater airtime you get on these modern coasters. It's pure, violent ejector airtime. You're forcefully launched out of your seat, your thighs slamming into the lap bar with an intensity that's both shocking and thrilling. For many people, that one moment is the most iconic hill on the coaster. From there, the ride rips through its famous Pretzel turnaround, a bizarre, heavily banked series of twists that feels like the ride is trying to tear itself apart. It's very awkward, a little rough, but it's totally unique. Then comes the grand finale, a frantic return trip with a relentless set of smaller, triangular airtime hills, Each one is a rapid-fire punch of ejector airtime, one after another, as the train hops and skips all the way back to the station. People often say it's like a speedboat skipping across choppy water. It isn't smooth, it isn't graceful, it's just wild. It feels completely out of control, a feeling that modern engineering has all but eliminated. As the train finally slams into the brakes, you're left breathless, maybe a little beaten up, and you know, you've just survived something special. To really get Magnum's brutal elegance, you have to put it side by side with the hypercoasters of today. Since 1989, manufacturers like B&M and Intamin have taken the hypercoaster concept and perfected it, using advanced tech to create a totally different kind of ride. The biggest game changer has been the computer-aided design, or CAD, where Ron Toomer of Aero used chalk lines. Today's engineers use software to model every single inch of coaster. They can precisely calculate the forces on a rider's body at any point in the ride, making sure every transition is buttery smooth and every element flows perfectly into the next. The goal isn't just height and speed anymore. It's about crafting a curated and controlled experience. Those imperfections that give Magnum its character are meticulously engineered out of these modern designs. You can see this design philosophy in the track itself. While they still use a tubular steel, companies like B&M use massive 4-tube box spine. This creates a much stiffer, more stable track, which, combined with the computer milled parts, gives you a glass smooth ride. That awkward lateral jerks and the violent shudders of Magnum are gone, replaced with graceful, sweeping curves and predictable forces. This leads to a huge difference in a hypercoaster's signature thrill, airtime. Modern hypers are famous for their floater airtime. As the train crests a big parabolic hill, you feel a sustained sense of weightlessness, gently lifting you out of your seat for a few seconds. It's graceful, blissful feeling. Magnum, on the other hand, is the undisputed king of ejector airtime. Its sharp, triangular hills are designed to launch you from your seat with an aggressive, powerful burst of a negative G-force. It's not a gentle float, it's a forceful ejection. Neither one is better than the other. They just represent two totally different approaches to thrill design. Polished perfection versus raw power. The trains and restraints have evolved too. Modern hypercoasters often feature these clamshell lap bars, mostly on B&Ms, and ergonomic bucket seats that cradle you comfortably. This minimizes any side-to-side movement and keeps your body in a perfect position to experience the planned forces. Riding Magnum, with its simple bench seats and basic lap bar, is much more physical and chaotic ordeal. You're not just a passenger, you have to be an active participant, bracing against the forces that feel untamed and unrefined. While modern coasters aim for rerideability and mass appeal, Magnum offers an unfiltered shot of intensity, a throwback to a time when the goal was to push the limits, even if the result was a little rough around the edges. Decades after its debut, Magnum XL-200 still towers over the Cedar Point skyline, a monument to a bygone era of coaster design, in a park that now has some of the most advanced coasters on Earth. From the Giga Coaster Millennium Force to the hyper-hybrid Steel Vengeance, this 1989 Aero creation still commands respect and draws huge lines. So why is that? Is it because it offers an experience you just can't get anywhere else? Its roughness isn't a flaw, it's a feature. The jarring transitions and violent airtime are a direct connection to its analog roots. It's a 5,106-foot long time capsule, a rideable piece of history that shows what was possible before software could smooth out all the sharp edges. It's a testament to the raw guts of designers like Ron Toomer, who took the simple mine train concept and scaled it up to impossible proportions, with little more than calculations, experience, and sheer nerve. Of course, the ride is divisive. For every fan who raves about its intense ejector airtime, there's a casual rider who will call it rough, jerky, or even painful. And you know what? They're not wrong. Magnum can be a demanding ride, and that helps if you know how to brace yourself. But for those who love it, that physical battle is the whole point. It's a badge of honor to have conquered the beast, to have been thrashed around by its relentless airtime hills, and lived to tell the tale. Having thrilled tens of millions of riders, Magnum's influence is undeniable. It didn't just start the coaster wars. It laid the foundation for the modern hypercoaster. Every 200-foot plus coaster on this planet owes its existence, in some small way, to this Ohio giant. It proved that the 200-foot barrier wasn't a limit, but a starting line. And yet, as technology moved on, the very methods that made Magnum what it is became obsolete. No park would build a coaster like this today. The quest for perfection has given us incredible machines, but maybe, just maybe, it came at the cost of raw, untamed soul that makes Magnum XL-200 an irreplaceable legend. Magnum stands as a reminder that sometimes the most memorable experiences aren't the most polished. They're the ones that feel a little dangerous, a little out of control, and completely, authentically real. It's a 72-mile-per-hour beast that refuses to be tamed, and honestly, that's why we love it. So what do you think? Is the raw force of Magnum better than the smooth perfection of modern hypercoasters? Let me know down in the comments. And if you enjoyed this trip through Magnum's coaster history, be sure to subscribe and hit the notification bell for more videos like this. Thank you so much for watching.